As at this point, Asians are dragging Asians. Asians are calling out Asians. Asians are holding Asians accountable. Now they are not seeing that every single thing that the black community are saying, they are right. I can tell you that a lot of them wish right now for the black community to reverse everything that they have said so that black community can actually come back to them and move on with business as usual. So a lot of them are panicking. A lot of them are even going to comment section of their fellow Asian content creators, attacking them, telling them, why do you need to support black Americans? So it's that crazy. And I love it when people F around and then they are finding out. But this time around, Asians are finding out the hard way. And they wish, they crave that black people, black Americans come back to them. But black people, are you gonna go there? Are you going to go there? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Sonia. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Credit to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you. Liking, commenting, dropping super thanks. Also joining my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. And yes, with that being said, with no further ado, let's roll out the clips. I'll be back with more commentaries. Let's go.
Asian Americans too don't, in my experience, don't even realize that if it wasn't for the civil rights movement,
Yes.
there would not be 22 million Asian Americans in this
Thank
country.
you. Thank you. What I have been trying to teach the Asian community is like, friends, do you understand that your success, your prosperity, your civil rights that you enjoy right now was paid for with black blood?
Honestly, go ahead and boycott the Asian businesses. We as Asian businesses could stand to learn the value of the black dollar. And yes, South Asians, I said we. We spent all of last month talking about how we're Asian too. I understand that Rick Chow and his thug-ass son are East Asian, but y'all know damn well that could have been one of y'all's parents. This is exactly what some of us mean when we say y'all need to be raising y'all's parents. That immigrant mindset of come to America, keep your head down, don't bother anyone, they won't bother you. First of all, that's outdated. That's not gonna work. You have to educate yourself on what's going on. Second of all, our parents need to understand what happened in this country, the groundwork that was laid, the work that black Americans did to give us the rights that we have now. Third of all, you don't get to come here and say you just want to keep your head down and make an honest living and have the American dream and don't cause any waves, but at the same time, uphold anti-blackness and the disenfranchisement of black Americans. You can't have it both ways. And before any of you want to get in my comments with some slick ass shit to say, talking about fine, okay, if they don't want to shop at our establishments, go get your own dry cleaners, go get your own restaurants, go get your own convenience stores. You are proving the point that's being made, first of all. I'm gonna tell you two things that the black community have been trying to tell you. You just won't listen. One, black people don't forget. Black people do not forget. So if you already said some slick ass racist ass shit, you're fucked. I'm sorry. You've already lost them. And that serves you right. Number two, black people will treat you how you treat them. It is really that simple. And it makes perfect sense. In a country that has sought out to systemically oppress them from jump, I get that they're gonna be weary interacting with different people. They're gonna wanna understand what you think of them and how you want to treat them. Because why would they intentionally subject themselves to that kind of bullshit? But let me also tell you something. When they say social media is the loudest minority, that shit's so real. You can have every single black person on TikTok come on here and say, I am no longer supporting insert Asian business. And you know what? They could genuinely mean that and they will never set foot in your door. But most people are not on TikTok. You are still going to have black patrons coming to your establishments, giving you a chance, being open. This is your chance to prove you are exactly who you claim to be. Treat them with some respect, make them feel welcome and invited, and don't fucking antagonize them. Don't watch them, don't hover. Don't talk down to them when they're coming in ready to spend their own money at your establishment. Don't follow them around the store. And for fuck's sake, don't chase little children out of your store just to shoot them in the back in self-defense. Bitch, fuck you. And to Rick Chow and your thug-ass son, So I posted a video yesterday about the black community boycotting Asian businesses. And a lot of you had some shit to say, so let's talk about it. So really, it was just a bunch of you miserable trolls leaving these long-ass smut novels in my comments, because I know your ass was diddling yourself, thinking that you were slam dunking by listing off the names of these Asian people that had experienced brutality at the hands of black individuals. Not to mention some of you lazy do-nothing bitches that literally had ChatGPT develop your outrage for you. Bestie, I can tell it's AI from the punctuation. But okay, whatever, let's talk about it. So my first question to you, when you list off these absolutely heinous crimes that happen against these Asian individuals by black perpetrators, sure. What exactly do you think? That I don't care? That I don't agree with you that those were horrible crimes that happened? Do you think the black community just overwhelmingly aligns with everything that happened? Anything? Hello? Hello? Any of you? And the number one response from all of y'all when I ask this question is, well, I haven't seen any black people speak about it. I don't see any of them standing up for us. If you genuinely do not think that there isn't a large percentage, if not most of the black community that has stood up for us, that has stood by us just a couple months ago, when those incels online were acting like there weren't baddies in India, y'all didn't see any videos from any black creators negating that, talking about how badass Indian South Asians are. Need I remind you that your For You page is built by you. That is an algorithm you build yourself. So if you don't see any black creators standing up for us, that's a reflection of you, not them. But again, let's go back to these names you guys keep on listing. I did not address those in that video because that's not what that video was about. I'm not going to So I made some videos earlier this week regarding the black community boycotting, or I guess more appropriately, the blackout of Asian businesses, right? And I will say some of the responses I've gotten from Asian people have been hella weird. So let's talk about it. First of all, let me say this. If you are a palm-colored person, sorry, I had to get my coffee. What was I saying? Any of you palm-colored people, I don't know if it wasn't obvious, you actually have no seat at the table for this conversation. So I'm gonna need you to jump, especially if you bitches wanna form your mouth to say that I'm somehow being anti-Asian. No, bitch, if you don't come over here and suck my entire dick. Anyways, let's address some of the comments that I've gotten. Because here's the thing, you guys, 99% of the comments have been like amazing and really supportive and great, and I appreciate that. But y'all know how it is, you focus on that 1%. And I'm trying this thing now where I don't just assume that all of those comments are gonna be trolls, because I don't want to like miss actual valid constructive feedback because I just wrote someone off as a troll, you know what I mean? So let's talk about some of these. First, there's this person that's commented multiple times. You're calling for a boycott of South Asian businesses. You don't realize that there are some people that are half black, half South Asian that have businesses. So you're calling for a boycott of their businesses. You're being anti-black. Bitch, did you watch my video? That had to be a troll. That had to be a troll, right? If you look at all of my other videos, because this person's comments on my other videos, you can see that I'm not one of those accounts that's like constantly calling out racism and hatred and all those things. And no offense to those accounts, bitch. I think accounts that are consistently educating our own people, those are amazing accounts. Do you know what I mean? Like one of my besties on here, y'all know Ariana Merchant. I fucking ride for her. She is constantly holding our people accountable and educating. That just takes so much out of someone. Like I have so much respect for her. That's just not what I do. Like when I tell y'all, people like Ariana are the ones that deserve a platform. Bitches like me, I'm literally just out here walking around drinking my coffee every day, obsessing over some trivial ass shit, drinking 20 ass smoothies when I'm in LA. Fuck me. The thing about me, I'm never going to shy away from any of these topics, and if I feel moved to talk about them, I will. Anyone who's been following me on TikTok for a while, you already know. The thing I'm starting to realize, maybe Instagram is not as strict as TikTok when it comes to some of this content, because y'all, when I pop off on someone, last year I got 3 strikes in 1 week on TikTok, so I had to cool it on some of this content. But anyways, back to the focus. I get comments on my other videos of me just like vlogging, going around, getting my coffee, and they're like, oh, boycott Asian businesses. I'm gonna go support a black influencer. 100%. More black influencers need to be supported. But bestie, if you watch my video in full and then you comment that, you're not helping to suppress me or boycott me. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather you just block me and then go actually put your money where your fucking mouth is and go support black creators. Please. There's so many amazing black creators that have no support that need it. But I'm willing to bet you don't actually care about supporting black creators, do you? You just wanted to dunk on me. So address me directly and keep them out of your fucking mouth. And then lastly, let me address this. There are some black people from this entire conversation that are saying, I will fuck with Asian businesses that fuck with me. I will support an Asian business if they are nice to me. Great, I love that, thank you, I appreciate that. But there are also black people that are saying, I will never support any Asian business again based on their history. I will only support black owned. I have no problem with that. I don't know if people think that that's something that I should be denouncing. No, bitch, the whole point of this is leave black people alone. Let black people have their feelings and let them make their own decisions. We are not entitled to their business, we're not entitled to their money. What are you not getting? Jesus Christ. Oh, bitch, I lied. I got a couple more things, actually. Next, the virtue signaling. Fair. I'm the morality police. I'm just doing this for engagement. That is your opinion. That is your feeling. I can't really argue against your feeling. Feel how you want. Here's the thing. I'm gonna piss off a bunch of my haters when I say this. Last month, I got 2 brand deals. And I got paid for them. One of them was net 30, one of them was net 15. It's 2026, fucker. The thing about me, I'm well aware that I can make videos like this, pop off, they'll get so many views. On Instagram, my first video about this entire subject has like, I don't know, 500,000 views right now. If I wanted to just get a shit ton of followers and engagement on every single video, I would continue talking about these things. I only talk about them when I feel compelled, when I feel like I have something to contribute to the conversation. I'm not just gonna go spit out the same thing everyone else is saying just for what, the views? Now let's acknowledge the fucking privilege in that alone. Do you see me, bitch? Do you hear me? Clearly, so much of who I am, my personality, the music I listen to, the shows I watch, so much of that is influenced by the black community. That is not something I can deny, nor would I want to. I may not be a business owner that takes money from the black community, but I've been influenced plenty. And quite literally, it's not that difficult to give credit where credit is due. When I first started doing this, when I had about 5,000 followers on TikTok, I knew that I didn't want to be one of those creators if I ever got any form of a following. Every 4 years, when the election comes at the very last minute, get out there and give a vague little speech about going to vote and exercising your right, even just flat out saying vote fucking Democrat, and having half of my following be like, I can't believe you would say this, I didn't follow you for this, I never wanted you to be political. Who is calling me? I genuinely believe that if I ever got those comments from people, I have failed. I have failed. Because even though the majority of my content is me dicking around in cities and drinking coffee and going to Erewhon and getting $20 fucking smoothies, 17 of that in a weekend. Now in the last week, I've gotten probably like 7,000 new followers on Instagram. And I'm willing to bet 99% of them think I'm gonna keep making videos only like the 2 that they saw. And the thing is, that's just not exclusively the content I make. I am quite literally a gay brown man that is ADHD as fuck, that hyperfixates on smoothies and fucking coffee. Literally the most trivial fucking shit, but at least y'all know exactly where the fuck I stand. Juice Bud, I'm gonna be honest, this Hailey Bieber dupe, the texture is great. It's very thick. It's the closest dupe in terms of that, but like, there really is no flavor to this. There's like no sweetness or like any distinctive flavor. Did I fuck up? Honestly, y'all know most of the fucking Erewhon smoothies taste like cold nothing, so close, Juice Pod. If y'all want, this is the closest Philly dupe. Anyways, bye.
Yes, period, like you said.
No worries,
Yes.
thanks. Have a good one.
Just a reminder to other Asians, when the black community says that they're going to boycott Asian businesses, that's not them being racist. They're literally just asking us to give them the respect that they rightfully deserve. There's a lot of anti-blackness in the Asian community, and I'm sick of seeing it. We're all sick of seeing it. And the black community knows that all Asians aren't racist. It's just that these Asian businesses need to be reminded that they literally profit off of the black community.
An Asian content creator got on this here internet wearing what can only be described as a Black American starter kit and decided to tell Black people that our money doesn't matter. Okay. According to him, Black people need Asian-owned businesses more than Asian-owned businesses need Black people. A boycott wouldn't move anything. The loss wouldn't register. Our dollars don't count. Now, this might just be me, but if I genuinely believed that somebody's money didn't matter, I don't think I'd spend my afternoon making a video about it. So naturally, I went looking at the history. Because this conversation isn't really about just one video, right? The very second that Black people start talking economics, where our money goes, who profits from it, who builds wealth off our communities, people get uncomfortable. That same discomfort doesn't appear when other groups do the same thing. Every immigrant community that's come to this country has done it. Jewish, Chinese, Korean, Italian, Indian, Armenian, pooling resources, building businesses, keeping their money inside their communities for as long as possible. Nobody finds that controversial, though. But what they fail to recognize is that we understood the same thing. We had to. After slavery, Black communities built banks, hospitals, insurance companies, schools, newspapers, whole business districts. The Greenwood neighborhood in Tulsa, Oklahoma had 191 businesses. It had 2 schools, a hospital, and a library, all by 1921. They called it Black Wall Street. But on May 31st, 1921, a white mob attacked it. 2 days of looting, burning, and shooting. But it's us, right? We're the problem. 35 square blocks destroyed. More than 1,200 Black homes, businesses, schools, and churches, y'all, burned to the ground. World War I era planes dropped bombs from the sky on the Greenwood neighborhood. The official death toll was 36. But we know the estimates were around 300 Black people killed, murdered. The survivors were rounded up and held in internment camps in their own city. They were issued identification cards and couldn't leave without permission from a white supervisor. Insurance companies refused every claim. They had something called a riot clause. Not a single Black resident ever received financial assistance to rebuild. So when somebody gets on the internet and tells Black people that our money doesn't matter, I automatically think they're a dumbass. A racist dumbass. Corporations spend billions chasing Black consumers. Political campaigns spend millions trying to reach Black voters. Entire industries are built around marketing to Black communities. Our money matters. It mattered enough to burn a city for it in 1921. It mattered enough to redline neighborhoods for the next 50 years. It matters enough that every quarter, somebody's profit and loss statement depends on us showing up. Apparently our money matters right up until we start talking about where we want to spend it. Then all of a sudden it doesn't. Right? Nobody's entitled to Black customers. We spend our money where we want. That's how markets work. That's how capitalism works. That's how every other community inside this country operates. The fact that this becomes a controversy every time Black people say it out loud tells me that this was never about money. It was about leverage. And this country has been comfortable with Black spending. It's Black leverage that's always made them nervous. But if you know anything about me, you know I love a good challenge. Shop Black. Spend with your people. I'm gonna show you better than I can tell you. We gonna show you better than we can tell you. Invest in Black businesses. Build the community. Y'all, we are overdue.
To the Asian man who challenged all Black people to boycott all Asian businesses, I'd like to say thank you. We haven't seen a level of unity and camaraderie this large since probably George Floyd. I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I don't know if Black people would have ever gotten to this point where we all unified under one singular movement this way. Like, it is powerful. The Asian people are starting to feel the effects of what you have done. This is impacting your people more than it's impacting my people. We are uniting against this. You have destroyed Asian businesses. That's you. You did that. And I'd like to thank you for getting my people to work together on something like this. This means the world to me. And to the Asian people who are hurting because of the decisions and the words that this person has said, you know who to come for. He did this to you, not us. He said we don't want you guys, so we said okay.
The tension between the Black and Asian community has been happening in America for almost a century. And the conversation is currently being had without historical context. And that vacuum gets filled with emotion and bad faith. Black frustration reads as anti-Asian. Asian defensiveness reads as anti-Black. White supremacy wins both times. But the thing is, Black people, we treat people the way they treat us. The tension is a distrust and distancing based on patterns and our history of anti-Blackness with this country.
Blacks in the South have such a low social status that you simply can't be seen in public with them and still expect to have any respect. Civil rights movement helped the Chinese to attain certain status among the white world, more or less. Whereas we didn't have anything gained in the black world because they didn't have nothing for us to step into. Well, you know, we didn't march. Is that what you mean? Why didn't we get out and march? And well, I guess the best answer is that I'm a coward.
People often have the same rebuttal for black people identifying racism and racist systems working. Why do you guys make everything about race? What about black people doing X, Y, Z? And that's always a deflection, a dehumanizing talking point to say, why would I need to have empathy or understanding for you when, according to this country, you're not fully human? Going back to that tension between the Asian and black community, it is definitely manufactured by the system of white supremacy and the government giving them preferential treatment above blacks during Jim Crow and after. And while everyone wants to talk about this tension and this history, nobody wants to talk about who built it. So let's start at the beginning with some historical context, because I truly believe every immigrant group in America needs to learn black history, not out of curiosity, but to educate yourself on the way this country operates and treats everyone non-white to uphold the white positioning.
How the Chinese came and just settled in the Delta from Memphis to Vicksburg. I mean, just look at it. It really filled a particular need because nobody else wanted to do it.
These stores played a uniquely important role in the segregated South, serving the black community when the white community wouldn't.
After the Civil War, white plantation owners had a problem. Enslaved black people were free, and we were done working for them. So the solution was to import Chinese laborers, not out of goodwill, not out of opportunity, but specifically to replace black labor and discipline black freedom. The governor of Arkansas said it plainly. The goal was to punish black people for leaving the plantation and control the conditions of their work. That's the origin story. Chinese people were brought to this country as a weapon against black people, black freedom, not as equals, as a tool. The very reason for allowing the initial Chinese immigrants was out of spite. We will see this happen often in America when it comes to the intended harm and oppression of black people. But as with most things with America, the story is way more complex and complicated than that. Asians are not a monolith. East Asians treat Southeast Asians differently within their own community, and you arrived at different times here. But the Chinese, Japanese, and Koreans have a very specific relationship with the American government and as the earliest Asian immigrants to arrive to this country. So seeing Southeast Asians like Filipinos hijack this convo in order to spew racist anti-black sentiments is very weird.
The black community constantly complains about racism, yet here they are doing the same exact thing they complain about to Asian Americans. For some reason, instead of taking accountability, the black community will just blame it on white people. Or like this person who thinks that Asian people want to be white. I hate to tell you, but Asians love being Asian. We don't want to down.
The Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882, Japanese internment, the 1917 Asiatic Barred Zone, these groups had a hostile and complicated government relationship that's distinct from the post-1965 Immigration Act wave that brought many South and Southeast Asian communities.
What did it mean to grow up Chinese in a black and white space?
Now, when I was growing up, the expression, we had a Chinese grocery store on every corner. You know, the laws at that time were so limited, but not applying to the Chinese.
Segregation was nothing more than a pseudo way of carrying on slavery.
How did they end up in the black neighborhood?
They are still people of color. You can only go so high.
They were allowed to go to the predominantly white schools, whereas blacks were not allowed to go to the predominantly white schools.
And at school, there were mostly white kids. Did you feel?
All white kids.
How did that make you feel?
No mingling at all.
The Chinese who came to the Mississippi Delta weren't white. They weren't black either. They existed in this in-between space, classified as colored, barred from white schools, but some were allowed to go to white schools, subject to the same Jim Crow architecture. So they found the only economic niche available, grocery stores in black neighborhoods. And there's a reason that niche was open. Black people were being systematically locked out of bank loans through redlining. Banks deemed black neighborhoods too high risk for black people. But those same banks would lend to Asian business owners willing to operate in those same neighborhoods. Same block, different access. The system just didn't allow this. It manufactured it. Black communities couldn't build their own economic infrastructure because the capital was being deliberately withheld, and someone else was handed the keys. But for that model minority crowd, that access was conditional, and the condition was anti-blackness. The Gangnam case in 1927 is the receipt. A Chinese family in Mississippi sued the state not because segregation was wrong, but because they didn't want their children classified with black children. The mother said it herself. I did not want my children to attend the colored schools because the community would have classified us as Negroes. She wasn't fighting for equality, she was fighting away from blackness. And it worked. White Mississippi noticed gradually Chinese grocers who distanced themselves from black social life upgraded their stores for white customers and performed proximity to whiteness. They got access to white public spaces, then white schools. The price of admission was rejecting the community they'd been selling groceries to for decades. Sociologists call this racial triangulation. The system places one group above another, not at the top, but above as a buffer. And the cost of that buffer status is absorbing and reproducing anti-blackness. It's not accidental, it's by design. Let's fast forward to 1965, the Immigration Act. The government opens the doors specifically to educated, professional East Asian immigrants, engineers, doctors, people with advanced degrees. That selective pipeline produces outcomes, and then those outcomes get rebranded as cultural superiority. Asians just work harder. No, the government curated who got to come and then used those outcomes to tell black people that their poverty was their own fault. And that, my friends, is the model minority myth we've all been hearing about. It was never a compliment, it was a deliberate wedge.
Sadly, government policymakers and media outlets do not want to acknowledge that Black on Asian violence is a problem. And racial resentment is at the root of the problem. This resentment is well explained by the middleman minority concept. Immigrants who occupy a low barrier niche in the economy like retail and via punishing work schedules and self-sacrifice ascend from poverty to prosperity, often within one generation. Middleman minorities have faced violence throughout history because native populations of lower status feel entitled to the same outcomes.
Right now, in 2026, we're watching people who don't know any of this history fight each other on the internet. A hurt black community with every reason for distrust, and an Asian community, particularly East Asian, that genuinely doesn't understand how their positioning was constructed. Meanwhile, Southeast Asian communities, Vietnamese, Hmong, Cambodian, Laotian, Filipino, who came here as refugees displaced by American wars, whose economic outcomes look nothing like the East Asian professional class, are getting lumped into success narrative that was never built for them. They're also dealing with colorism and hierarchy inside their own broader community. And I say all of that to say, all of it serves the same system that built the tension in the first place. The friction between the black and Asian communities is not a natural one. It was engineered through capital, through law, and through mythology. The only way out of it is the thing the system fears the most. Both communities understanding exactly how we got here. Asians, however, took on the embedded anti-blackness that was being proliferated throughout the South and the country as they aspired to whiteness. This history needs to be taught and spoken about. And I always say, every immigrant group in America needs to be extremely educated on black history and understand how the evilness of this government will do anything to anyone not white in order to preserve white supremacy. Stay black, stay blessed.
All I'm saying is that if you are Asian, before you should even be asking the question about who gets to decide who gets to boycott Asian-owned businesses, we need to be having the conversations in our own spaces about whether or not anti-Black racism needs to be addressed and have those uncomfortable conversations within our communities. Because I have been doing this for years, right? Have you been doing that before you decided to come online and post a video being like, oh, Black Americans are such hypocrites? Which they are not. They have a right. Like, they have an absolute right, because we do have rampant anti-Black racism. And before we are willing, like, we need to be willing to take accountability for that before we get to decide whether or not anybody should be boycotted. Also, it's not even our decision who gets to boycott. Our role, right? And everybody has different roles under systemic oppression, and something happens, is what can I do in solidarity instead of looking at this situation as an us versus them problem? If you're still looking at it from the lens of an us versus them problem, then you are on Rick Chow's side. And I know that people can say like, oh, well, you know what, like I have such a diverse spectrum of ideas and I see things differently. But when it comes to systemic oppression in a world that is made to be black and white, then if you are going to look at this boycotting situation as, oh, you shouldn't boycott us, why should we have to pay for the sins of this one guy Like, that's not like the systemic playbook, right? Like, like when one person does harm, or even if it's a few people doing harm, right? If you think about like slavery in the South, even if it was just a few people, a few families running the whole thing, okay? The systemic issue is still the fact that everybody inherited these core belief systems about certain marginalized groups of people, and we are still perpetuating these ideas, right? Like, the issue is that our ideologies are still there, right? And until we're able to address that, why are we even thinking immediately like, oh, actually, I'm going to argue about boycotting, when you should be looking at yourself in a mirror and being like, hey, I realize that I'm contributing, my community is contributing. How have I seen anti-Black racism manifest in Asian spaces? Like, why are these conversations so difficult to have? I don't know. But they need to be had, right? They exist. They exist. People are doing it, some people are not. But when it comes to the question of solidarity, are you for or against? And if you are for, then have the conversations first before you decide who gets to boycott if you are an Asian person.
If Black folks boycotting Asian businesses is what it takes to fast track Asian folks into deconstructing their internalized white supremacy and anti-Blackness, so be it. Boycott. I didn't apologize to the Black community in my video yesterday so that y'all would magically trust me or forgive Asian people suddenly. I apologized to hold my people accountable because the Asian community owes an apology and the Black community deserves to receive an apology. Is it enough? No. But is it one grain of rice in the direction of repair? I believe so. Trust can only be rebuilt through action, so I will continue educating Asian folks in my life, both online and in real life, to deconstruct the internalized white supremacy and anti-Blackness, because Black folks are some of the most soulful, caring people I know, and y'all deserve better.
Black people and Asian people do have a lot in common. You know, what we talk about, the respect for elders.
Yes.
And also, there's a general sense of not fitting in sometimes in America. And I think that's important. That's why I think Black people gravitated towards Kung Fu movies. Asian people gravitate towards rap music because there is like a rebellious outsider point of view almost, that this America is white America, and we're the outsiders looking in, trying to fit in, get a piece of this.
I love conversations about Black and Asian solidarity, but sometimes Asians miss the mark when we start speaking for Black experiences. That's not our place. We can't speak on what we haven't lived. The idea that Black people are just trying to fit in is just inaccurate. Black people were excluded because of slavery, Jim Crow, segregation, not because they were outsiders looking for acceptance. And through all of that, they've remained proud of their culture without needing validation. Now, Asians, on the other hand, some Asians fall into the model minority myth, like Jimmy, trying to appease whiteness while distancing themselves from Black people, while forgetting that it was the same system that gave us things like Chinese Exclusion Act. That's something the Asian community needs to unpack. And about Kung Fu films, Black communities didn't connect to them to fit in. They connected because it was entertaining, but also because those stories reflected resistance, fighting oppressive systems, discipline, and resilience that mirrored their own lived experiences. A better explanation of appreciation would have been Spike Lee, who was inspired by Bruce Lee and 70s Kung Fu cinema. On the other hand, yes, we can agree Asians love rap music, but it starts to overstep when some Asians are saying the N-word, disrespecting Black people, misusing AAVE, or appropriating the culture without giving it proper respect. When that happens, it comes off as disingenuous, like you're benefiting from Black culture while not respecting Black people. And that's where it starts to feel exploitative. And respectfully, pushing narratives like fitting into white America doesn't help either, especially when Black culture has a strong influence on America as a whole. They literally dominate the country, whether people want to admit that or not. So I'm asking the Asian community, where do we go from here? How do we unlearn this, respect boundaries, and show up as real allies instead of just consumers, while also being mindful of what we say, not overstepping, and only speaking from our own experiences?
Honestly, Asians are really getting it hot. At least by this time, they're not only regretting, they're not only putting their store out for sale, they have seen that their racism has literally downcasted them to the list. Like nobody really want to give an F about them anymore. Nobody want to even send them. Right now, you can even see white folks as well coming out to call out Asians. And apart from that, like just like the clip I was able to roll out, you can see a lot of Asians calling out their self, talking about their racism, talking about every single thing that has been going on in their community. And it simply means that a lot of them know what they were doing. They know what they were doing. So it is now that black people are saying, oh, we are boycotting, we're no longer taking this insult, we're no longer going through these routes that you people are literally going through. That is when a lot of them, their eyes is now open. So from saying that black Americans cannot survive to regret, to cry, to panic, and now they are realizing that they shouldn't have even said all of those words. They should have embraced black Americans. They should have understand what customer services means. See, I saw a particular clip of one video, but I didn't download it, where I see one of this Asian supporters saying that, oh, black people think that they can literally survive Asians, that most of the things that black people are still buying is literally coming from the Asians, blah blah blah. And when I saw that, I laughed because in that same video, that same man mocked black people for advertising their business, where he was literally saying, oh, now is a thing of advertising your business. So it simply means that black people are not really genuinely concerned about what happened to Cyrus, that they were only concerned in marketing their business. I was like, this person is talking from a place of stupidity, honestly. Because if not you talking from a place of stupidity, as at this point where a lot of black people are looking for where to patronize, they're looking for black shops to buy things from, they're looking for black salons to make their nails, to make their hair. Black people are now advertising themselves. It is now a problem to you, but it was never a problem where Asians were advertising black doors, punishing those black doors, beating those black doors. That door name is called Natasha, right? You can even go check it out and see what Asians have literally done with this Natasha door, black one to be precise. So when Asians were busy advertising their business, it is not a problem. It is only a problem now that black people are advertising their business. If you're watching this and you're a black person, please advertise your business. Even in my comment section, advertise your business. Advertise it. Make your publicity. Don't listen to anybody. Okay? Because right now, a lot of black Americans are transferring their words back to the black community. So it is better that the black dollar should be circulating in the black community. And do you know that most of the videos I bring here as Asian content and spitting out the truth, YouTube don't even get to monetize it. So sometimes I start thinking, is it that the algorithm is trying to be funny or is trying to be biased or something? Is what I really do not understand. But either ways, this boycott must keep going. And most of the reason why I bring videos like this is to also remind black people that the boycott is still ongoing. Because one thing I understand is the moment we keep quiet, they start bringing other trending things, we divert our attention. Before you know, we forget every single thing that we've planned. So a lot of black people are saying we need to keep talking about it, we need to keep rolling out the clip, we need to keep seeing their regret, we need to keep reminding ourselves that this is actually what we are doing. Okay, and that is it. Anyways, if you have not joined my membership, please join and please support me in my super thanks as well. Credit to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you, liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks. Also join my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. And yes, guys, with that being said, with no further ado, I do like I always say in my videos, I'm going to be Simba and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys. Stay tuned.